It began with a moment that defied every known law of motion, a celestial body from beyond our solar system that simply stopped moving. In early observations, astronomers across multiple continents reported the same impossible sight, the interstellar comet known as 3-1/Atlas. Once racing toward the Sun at thousands of kilometers per second, appeared to freeze in space. Its luminous tail, once elongated by velocity, hung motionless against the black sea of stars. No parallax shift, no trace of acceleration, not even the faintest sign of orbital progression. For the first time in modern astronomy, a moving object had seemingly hit pause on the universe's grand stage. What could make a visitor from the depths between stars halt, as though an unseen force had reached out and caught it? Was this a glitch in observation, a failure of our instruments, or something that shook the very foundations of astrophysics? At first, scientists dismissed it as an error. Telescopes from Hawaii to Chile recalibrated, assuming a software malfunction or atmospheric interference. But when every system returned identical results, precise, consistent, undeniable, the panic began to spread quietly through the scientific community. A comet following a hyperbolic trajectory cannot stop. It either accelerates as it dives toward the Sun or slows as it drifts away. Yet 3-Atlas did neither. It simply remained still. Within hours, communication channels at the European Southern Observatory, NASA's Deep Space Network, and even amateur astronomers flooded with identical reports, the object had frozen in apparent defiance of gravity. What they witnessed broke the fundamental expectation that governs celestial mechanics. A comet on an interstellar path does not pause unless something beyond our equations interferes. And this time, even NASA had no immediate answer. Some insiders described the silence in mission control rooms as eerie, the kind that falls when human understanding meets a wall. One astrophysicist described the feeling as watching the universe blink. Was this a coincidence of perspective, a trick of light, or the first tangible evidence that space itself is not uniform, that hidden regions of magnetism, dark matter, or unknown physical forces could suspend motion as if time itself had fractured? Within days, independent observatories confirmed it wasn't an illusion. 3-Atlas remained fixed for nearly 40 hours, an anomaly never before recorded. Spectroscopic data showed no change in its light curve, no signs of disintegration, no sudden flare that might indicate a collision. Yet beneath its calm surface, radio measurements detected faint Doppler oscillations, the kind of micro-movements that suggested it wasn't entirely inert. Something inside it, perhaps within its metallic and icy layers, seemed to pulse. It was as if the comet were breathing in silence. For the first time, scientists began whispering what no one wanted to admit publicly, that perhaps 3-Atlas wasn't behaving like a comet at all. It might be a fragment of something older, something designed by nature or otherwise capable of self-stabilizing in ways we can't yet explain. As the investigation deepened, one haunting question grew louder. Did we just witness a natural miracle of physics, or the deliberate pause of something that's been observing us all along? As data streamed in from global observatories, the story of 3-Atlas transformed from a mere anomaly into a full-scale scientific mystery. Teams from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the European Space Agency, and independent research institutes in Japan and Chile launched emergency observation campaigns, hoping to capture any sign of renewed motion. The first reports dismissed any hardware malfunction. Instruments functioned flawlessly. The positional data was confirmed to the fourth decimal. The comet was not drifting, rotating, or precessing. It was absolutely motionless relative to the background stars. The first hypothesis considered non-gravitational forces outgassing jets of volatile material that might create a counterthrust momentarily balancing the gravitational pull of the Sun. But for that to happen, the emission would have had to reach a scale no comet had ever achieved, and such gas jets would have been glaringly visible across the infrared and ultraviolet spectra. Yet nothing appeared. No heat signatures, no chemical traces. Then a secondary line of thought emerged. What if 3-Atlas had entered a unique region of the heliosphere, a zone where magnetic fields and solar wind radiation pressure reached a point of perfect equilibrium? Some plasma physicists speculated that the comet might be temporarily locked in an electromagnetic coupling zone, a natural magnetic trap where opposing forces canceled out. But again, the probabilities were infinitesimal. The geometry would have to align perfectly between the Sun's solar wind vectors, the interplanetary magnetic field, and the comet's own metallic composition. And yet, somehow, the data aligned. What troubled scientists even more was the rhythmic fluctuation detected in its radio emissions, low-frequency pulses repeating at regular intervals. When converted into visual plots, the signals resembled oscillations found in controlled systems, as though 3I/8less were responding to its surroundings rather than drifting passively. Could the internal composition of this interstellar object possess self-regulating properties? Some researchers suggested that its mineral structure might generate thermoelectric currents, forming a feedback loop that allowed it to counteract external forces automatically. This led to a bold theory that 3I/8less represented a new category of interstellar objects, not merely frozen relics of ancient systems, but bodies capable of dynamic balance, able to react naturally and autonomously to changes in their environment. Others, less restrained by academic caution, whispered that what we were seeing might not be natural at all. As one senior astrophysicist anonymously told a science journal, "If this is a purely physical phenomenon, it's the most elegant one the universe has ever written." The line between science and speculation blurred, as images began revealing microjets arranged in precise geometric formations, almost symmetrical, as if engineered rather than chaotic. The deeper researchers looked, the more 3I/8less refused to fit any existing model, a perfect paradox suspended between cosmic order and cosmic mystery. By the third week of observation, the case of 3I/8less had become a global obsession. What began as a niche anomaly among astronomers now dominated scientific conferences, public debates, and even quiet emergency meetings within NASA and ESA. The official line remained conservative, a rare balance of magnetic and gravitational forces. But behind closed doors, analysts spoke openly about possibilities far stranger. Some proposed that the object had entered a resonance pocket within the Sun's gravitational field, a point where curvature in spacetime could distort our perception of motion. In other words, 3I/8less might not have stopped at all. We might simply be observing it from a distorted temporal angle. But the data refused to settle. Spectroscopic readings revealed subtle oscillations between redshift and blueshift, as though the comet were vibrating back and forth on a microscopic scale, motion too small to see yet too precise to ignore. Quantum theorists stepped in, suggesting it could be interacting with a boundary between two gravitational potentials, where energy states might oscillate in a form of macroscopic quantum resonance. In this view, the comet wasn't defying physics, it was revealing a layer of physics humanity had never directly observed. When high-resolution imagery arrived, the mystery deepened further. The comet's nucleus displayed crystalline organization, not the random chaotic textures seen in typical icy bodies. Some surfaces reflected light in symmetrical patterns, suggesting internal alignment of magnetic metals or minerals that could store and release energy rhythmically. It was as if 3I/8less were a natural resonator pulsing with the slow heartbeat of the cosmos. Yet even more unsettling were the temperature readings. Thermal sensors recorded repeating rises and falls in heat perfectly synchronized with its radio pulses, as if the comet were breathing, drawing in solar radiation, converting it and releasing it in intervals. It was a level of coherence unseen in any natural body. Journalists soon seized on the idea, is 3I/8less alive? Of course, no credible scientist used the word life, but the metaphor stuck. The comet's behavior appeared almost purposeful, as though responding to invisible environmental cues. Philosophers compared it to the eye of the universe blinking, while engineers speculated whether such naturally self-regulating bodies could one day inspire autonomous spacecraft propulsion or magnetogravitational shielding. Amid all the excitement, a quieter question haunted the research community. What if this wasn't the first time it happened, only the first time we noticed? Could other interstellar objects have passed through similar phases of pause, hidden in the silence between data updates mistaken for background noise? 3I/8less was not just a comet anymore. It had become a mirror reflecting both our technological limits and our desperate need to find meaning in the unknown. Every second of its stillness echoed with the tension between scientific logic and cosmic wonder. When 3I/Atlas finally began to move again, the world was holding its breath. After nearly 2 days of apparent immobility, the object resumed its trajectory toward the sun, its velocity curve re-establishing as though the interruption had never occurred. There were no explosions, no visible jets, no fragmentation of its icy core, only a quiet return to motion, smooth and continuous, as if the universe itself had pressed play after a long cosmic pause. The data confirmed what no one could explain. The comet's brightness and temperature adapted gradually, maintaining the same spectral characteristics as before. It was as if time had momentarily stopped around it, and then resumed in perfect synchronization. To many researchers, this event symbolized something profound, a reminder that our understanding of space remains fragile, that beyond the edge of our equations lies an ocean of forces we can barely describe. Theories flooded the scientific community. Some still insisted on a gravitational lensing illusion where light paths curved around the sun, making the comet appear stationary. Others clung to the idea of a resonant electromagnetic field in which charged particles from the solar wind had locked the object in temporary suspension. But a growing number of scientists began to explore something even deeper, that 3I/Atlas had acted as a cosmic sensor, a body capable of reflecting invisible harmonics of space-time itself. High-precision magnetometers detected unusual fluctuations in surrounding plasma density during the pause, implying that the comet might have interacted with the solar magnetic grid, stabilizing in a kind of natural equilibrium zone, a point of zero acceleration. In that moment, it had achieved what no human technology could: perfect balance in chaos. The philosophical implications were immense. Here was an object possibly older than our solar system. Its chemical fingerprint revealed 3 times more deuterium than found in Earth's oceans, meaning it was forged in an unimaginably cold and ancient region of the galaxy, perhaps before the sun even existed. It carried the chemistry of forgotten stars, the dust of extinct worlds, the first frozen whispers of the Milky Way itself. During the pause, ultraviolet radiation may have triggered photochemical reactions on its surface, rearranging organic molecules trapped for billions of years. To astrobiologists, that meant something astonishing: that life's building blocks could evolve even during moments of stillness, that cosmic dormancy might not be the absence of activity, but a stage of transformation. This event revived the debate around panspermia, the theory that life travels between star systems via frozen messengers like this one. If 3I/Atlas truly reactivated after millennia of deep space silence, what dormant potential might have awakened with it? Perhaps this was not just a comet, but a time capsule carrying fragments of cosmic memory. As the object disappeared back into the depths, many observers described a strange emotion: not fear, but reverence. One NASA astrophysicist called it a moment when the universe looked back. The stillness of 3I/Atlas became a metaphor for equilibrium, a reminder that even in constant motion, the cosmos contains points of reflection, places where energy and emptiness hold each other in perfect symmetry. In the months following, simulation models based on its data reshaped how scientists approached interstellar navigation. Engineers began exploring ways to map potential zero-acceleration corridors, regions where magnetic, gravitational, and relativistic forces neutralize one another, places where future spacecraft might pause, recalibrate, or even harness stable energy fields. Philosophers, meanwhile, saw the event as something almost spiritual, a demonstration that the universe is not merely expansion and chaos, but also silence and balance. For every explosion of light, there exists a counterpart of calm, and in that silence, we might find new beginnings. The mystery of 3I/Atlas may never be fully explained. Perhaps it was a rare alignment of forces, or maybe it revealed a natural phenomenon beyond human comprehension. Either way, the implications are profound. In one frozen moment, the comet reminded humanity that knowledge is not just about observing movement, but about listening to the stillness between. Because sometimes the universe does not speak in flashes or thunder, it whispers through what it chooses to stop. And if a visitor from the interstellar dark can pause so suddenly and resume as if nothing happened, we must ask ourselves what else, in the vast silence of space, might be watching, waiting or listening just beyond the reach of our instruments. Could it be that the cosmos itself holds moments of awareness, brief reflections of existence, like an ancient mind staring back through time?